Hey everybody, it's Brandon with RPG Overviews. I'm going to be taking a look at the first Mutant Crawl Classics module, Hive of the Overmind. It says it's a level 0 adventure by Julian Bernick. I will be spoiling this adventure, so don't watch this video if you may play it. But if you're interested in picking it up and running it for your players, I'm going to go all through it. So yeah, here we go. I really enjoy these smaller adventures. I like these small modules. Goodman Games are putting out compilations of hardcover books for DCC RPG. They're probably going to do that with Mutant Crawl Classics as well. And I think those are nice to have on a shelf, and they obviously are going to be better at a store to sell. You can see it. You get a lot for your money. I really still just like having 16 pages or so there at the table. It's easy to traverse it, and you might not be able to really wield that book so good at the table when you're running it. So I still really enjoy these, and I'm going to be doing videos on all the MCC adventures that I have, going from 1 all the way up. If I can get some that I'm having a little hard time trying to find them all, because there are some that I missed. Here's the back right here. And this is going to be a 0 level adventure, so it's going to be a funnel. It's going to be, again, a rite of passage type adventure. That's how a lot of these start out. Stephen Pogue art right here looks great. We got some cool characters. It really kind of shows you right off the bat a cool scene that's going to be in the adventure, of course. And I enjoyed that a lot. So we've got this cool piece of art here. It says, Brute finds a way out of the hive. You're going to start 600 feet up in this hive of these ant-men. And this is a great starting piece of art to show your players. You're going to be in the middle right off the bat of fighting this big bumblebee with these ant-men with you. And you're going to be helping them fight this bee in this hive. And that's just a really cool way to start off this adventure. So what has happened is you have left your village on your rite of passage, and you have not been able to really find anything that's that great. There's about 18 to 24 of you, 0 level characters. Of course, players playing, using about 3 or 4 characters each. It says that less than half of them, the party will survive. That is for sure. So you've left your village, and you haven't found too much, so you went even further north, where you were attacked by ant-men, and they used their Hive intelligence mutation to pretty much control your brain. And that's how you find yourself. You've been in the hive, working with the ant-men, and they're being attacked by this huge buzzer, a giant bee, and you're in the middle of it. Well, as the bee has been attacked, some of its juices gets on your face, and it clears off clears your brain a little bit, and you kind of wake up from your mind control from the ant-man. And so that's really cool. It's just a really great way if you're going to run this as your first introduction to MCC, which the great Stephen Newton says on his website that this is one of the ones that he thinks of that you should start off MCC with. And I would probably agree with that. I think that's a really good choice. He's definitely nailed it with this adventure, just because it starts off with such a bang, such a strange place that you're in this fungus garden, fighting alongside these ant-men. You're fighting this huge giant bee. So you get players to immediately start rolling attack rolls and dice, and you've got all this stuff going on. And their brains are going to be cleared, and now you're going to have to decide, are you going to continue to fight the bee, or are you going to start fighting the ant-man? Well, if you start the ant-man, they're going to start fighting you as well. So that's not going to be good for you. So the best thing to do is kind of fake like you're still under the mind control. And I think that's just a really cool way to start out. So fight the giant bee, keep them in your good graces there, the ant-man, because I'll be honest with you here. There's a lot of ant-men in this adventure, and their stats, while these stats, especially for the drones are in the MCC core rulebook, they have been slightly toned down compared to the rulebook's stats. But they're still very deadly. They have a hit point. They have 12 hit points. There's 4 here. These guys have only got 3, the workers, but you're going to find a lot more in this adventure that they may come against you, and you're going to hit in just an absolute wall of hit points with a lot of them. So they're going to be tough. They're going to be a tough foe to fight. So hopefully your players will continue to fight the giant bee. You'll see it as a bigger foe. There's some really cool items you can get in this adventure, especially like some weird stuff, and of course I'll be showing you what that's all about. And then we're gonna go and we're gonna continue on. I'm gonna be flipping here. We got the map in the middle. I really like a map kind of being in the middle or on the inside like this right here. But I like this because they're trying to show you this big 2-page map right here. So we're gonna be starting here at A1. A2 is going to have this well where they get water from. A3 is going to have a lot of like items that people such as yourself that have been discarded and thrown there. So that's a cool way to replenish your gear, because you're not going to have your gear whenever you come to in A1 fighting this big B. So get your stuff back from there. Go check out A2, which is going to have this whale. Now, I will say the Sweetwater whale, this encounter here, I find a little bit complex to understand. I don't think it has enough information. So what you've got this whale, and it's 500 feet below. It draws up fresh water from a source, okay? So if you're going to run this adventure, I'm just going to kind of show you right here how this is a little bit of a hiccup adventure. And the only thing I saw in this whole module that I kind of was like, what's going on? I don't really know how that's supposed to work. So if you pull up, it says, if you pull it back up, you'll get 5 gallons of fresh water. Well, that's a lot of water. So that's got to be a big bucket. It doesn't really tell you how big the bucket is, but it's also going to have 10 insect scavengers. They're called whale stalkers, and there's 10 of them, okay? And they can mimic the voice of like a child down in the whale. It makes me think of like the great Bart Simpson stuck down a whale. That episode of The Simpsons. It says they're animal intelligence. They won't respond back. They'll just keep on repeating like, help, I'm drowning. But then it says, these mutant toad bugs will not completely exit the whale environment, but will use their piercing front legs to grab any creature entering the whale opening and drag them down to their death. So I'm a little confused. They're in the bucket. There's 10 of them. You can climb down if you want. It's 500 feet. You can't really jump down. That's going to kill you. So yeah. It doesn't really make sense. And then I wish there was a better description of these whale stalkers, exactly what they look like. And then if I look at the stats for them, they've got 11 hit points. Okay, their armor class is not too bad. They can do some decent damage. For a 0 level character, this guy's going to crush you. These guys are going to crush you. So I want to think that they're going to pull down some people. Maybe they're still in the bucket. Since they won't really exit the whale, they're going to pull down some people, and that's kind of what their game plan is, and maybe you'll drop the bucket with them back down in it. But it just, I don't know, it's a little bit confusing. This is the only part of this module that I was a little bit confused exactly how to deal with this, because their stats are pretty stout. There's 10 of them. I mean, we're talking about 110 hit points between all 10 of them if you're going to actually fight them. And I don't think you're supposed to be honest with you. But either way, that's the only thing that kind of hiccuped on me. But still, it's a neat encounter. I just wish there was a better description of what these mutant toad bugs look like and what their kind of game plan is when it comes to fighting them. So there's that. You've got a garbage room. That's where you're going to get some items. You're going to get your items back that you have as a starting character. You're going to have this cool mucus thread bridge right here. It's going to be difficult to traverse. You could get stuck on it. So that's pretty neat. Cool piece of art right there with it too. Now the food storage chamber is interesting. It's a kind of a dimly lit room, and there's dozens of bodies are stored here. Some upright, some slumped over, all covered in a translucent yellow goo. Some half dissolved bodies are also visible in clumps of the goo further in, as well as jiggling goo pods empty of creatures. So this is going to be, once again, a great room where you can replenish characters. You can get people out of this. You take the goo off of them. And so if you need more PCs, you can get them here. There's also some giant horseflies that you can try to free from there. They could be mounts for you later on in the adventure when you need to escape. But it's also something that's kind of funny, in which it will nourish you, this kind of goo, but you realize that like you've already been eating this because you've been mind controlled. So you've been eating like kind of somewhat digested goo body parts of creatures. And so, yeah, it's very cool, kind of like, ooh, that's kind of nasty. We've been eating that protein goo. There's some other cool random items you can find in the garbage room with this table right here. Maybe a giant maggot that's going to attack you, and then it turns into a lot of other maggots, that's a really neat encounter there that I've actually ran into something like that before in the past. So I really like that. But some cool items you can find in the garbage as well. Some of them very powerful. And then as we move on, there's going to be a nursery that you'll see with this piece of art right here. They're taking care of these kind of larvae. And this could actually be a very interesting encounter, as well, as they will seek out your bodies for subsistence, and they will try to eat you. So you've got a larva swarm here that are pretty nasty. And we've got some cool gear that's also found in this room as well. Force field belt. They missed bolding that right there, but that's okay. Gauser rifle and some rad shots that'll help you with radiation. So you've got that. There's also a kind of hatch that'll take you down deeper into the structure that's below. Maybe they'll be able to get into that. And one of the ways they're going to be able to get into stuff is if we go back here and we look. Let's look at the module. This right here, this A1A. There's going to be a skull here that's going to have like a doodad techno crud in its skull. You're going to want to carry that around. Your players are going to carry that around to open up locked doors. This is going to be your security clearance. And so hopefully they will take that or they'll figure it out. It should be pretty easy. A lot of the stuff in this adventure, nothing should really bog down. You should be able to have a lot of the stuff you need to continue it without getting locked up somewhere. So that's going to help open up a lot of things, that skull that has that weird piece of technology in it. So you're going to have some Ant-Man rooms, and they tell you that they're busy, they're eating and stuff. It's going to be these rooms right here. Right here, A7B and A7A. There's a lot of them here, and hopefully they'll just sneak by because there's a lot of them. It says 2 in each room, and there's 10 of these workers in each room. So, we're talking about pretty much, 24? 24 different Ant-Men, and their stats, like I said, their stats will wreck you. They got 12 hit points, those do. Even there's only 4 of those, but still, their numbers will, of course, swarm you, and you'll be probably killed by them. So hopefully they'll sneak past. And if you're running this and you want to just kill your characters, let these guys attack, because it says that, some of the stuff in this adventure during playtesting was quite nasty. So you're then going to enter into the Queen's Chamber, and that's going to be where this place is right here. So great piece of cover art there that you can show them. There's a huge alien queen, but she's got this crazy face, and the face of the Overmind. And you're gonna take some fighting to her. And here's her queen stats there. There's a mazer pistol that you can get out of here as well. So she's going to be pretty much insane. She's controlled by this Overmind. It's an AI that has existed in the place below. It has sought out and kind of mind controlled all these ants. And so that's kind of like its game plan, is to take over the world with the use of these ants. So I like this. You can see it right here, the big A8 fighting her. There's going to be a monitor up here that'll talk to you. And then you're going to go into the next area. Now, one thing I like about the structure of this is, that this is all kind of like the cave stuff here. You've got your map, and then past the map, you're going to have all the old installation ruins. So it's a great way to kind of transition between, once the players have made it to this section, you're now on this other side of the book here. There's going to be a mind control lab. Now, some stuff, it says some rooms are secured and unsecured. You'll see right here. So with the secured rooms, you're going to need to have that leering skull from A1A, the security chip implanter from B1, which is neat, because this first room, this person right here has got a gizmo that can actually implant that chip into your brain that'll let you open up doors. Now, it could also do some terrible damage to you as well. So there are some artifact checks you need to make. This mind control room lab is very interesting. There's some cool technology to be found in here, like this pink liquid. It will murder you if you try to drink it or anything like that. You have to make a pretty nasty DC 15 fort save or death. There is this cool nano goo, and you can roll on the nano goo or try to take over your body, and you'll roll up here with your luck modifier on a D14. It can do some really random stuff to you. Defects, physical mutations, you can choose mutations, it can just turn you into goo that kills you. So again, this is where they talk about the technology in this place will murder you. But a cool piece of art here to show you the mind control lab, that you can take over stuff and use the actual Hive intelligence mutation with this piece of technology here. You've got an engineering room here, okay? There's a lot of cool technology to be pulled out of this room here. I like the Right Fit wristband, pretty much a smart like fitness watch, sonic whistle. There's a big wrench, phaser pistols. There's even homemade frag grenades. I like that. That's cool. There's the fusion chamber. So we're in B3. So we're going down here. We got this ramp that goes down. We've got B1. That's that first room with the mind control lab. B2 is going to be the engineering room that is unsecured, so you can go right into it. And then we've got B3 as we're moving around right here. So it's not an extremely large compound, but it's good enough. And I think you can get this adventure over in one session, a 4-hour session or so. Should be able to do it, and it'd be good for a con game. The fusion chamber is secured, and yeah, there's a huge mutated giant cockroach that's in there. And there's an engineering panel. Messing with that engineering panel could be very dangerous, and it's very complex. So you got to watch out with that. And then the reactor chamber, which is also secure, it will murder you if you go in there. That's that B3A right here. So this place here, it's got pretty much exposed radiation. And yeah, it's going to just immediately kill you if you go in there. So don't open up that door. And there are some things in this adventure where it's just like, oops, we opened up that door and now we're dead. You can make a fusion reactor artifact check should you be messing with it, dealing with that whole reactor. And there's some different things you can do, because you can even make it so the whole place blows up in like a huge mushroom cloud, or it won't trigger for like 100 years again. So it can kind of like, you can push it down the road, because this thing is slowly kind of leaking radiation. It's about to maybe blow up. And if you mess with it, you can either save it or blow the whole place up. So that's not good. Now, I will say, because I'm going to go ahead and just throw this out here, I don't know what happened with the creation of this adventure, either PDF and this actual physical book, but pretty much all the pages that they reference to the core rule book are wrong. Every single one of them I read is wrong. It's either roughly about 10 pages off. So I don't know if that was just from an updated PDF that they did of the main core rules or what, but just so you know, if you're looking for like right here, 38 to 39, it's more than likely not going to be there. And that was, again, for every single place where it says, see page so-and-so in the MCC RPG core rulebook. So that's a shame. I wish that could get fixed somehow, but they really can't. They'd have to redo this. I don't believe that the PDF has been updated with that, because I had all the same issues. So like right here, page 38, Radburn results, I don't believe that's the same page that's actually in the book. So what happened is you've got this whole war that happened with these androids against these Ant-Men and this Overmind AI. So there's remnants of these androids down in the lower areas, okay? And this guy here is actually going to be, he's watching over, and he's been watching over for who knows how many years, this door, and how your PCs are going to interact with this guy. Who knows? He might just kill him. He does have a weapon. He's missing his legs, but he's been there a long time trying to protect the Speculatron from getting out. And it's a nasty piece of android business that wants to take it to the Overmind in its chamber. So it's going to be an interesting way that your players are going to interact with this android here. Maybe they're going to kill him or whatnot. But the door has got a gravity clamp on it to keep it shut. They might mess with that and interact with the Speculatron, who is very powerful in his own right, with a high armor class, a lot of hit points, and very nasty in hand-to-hand combat. So yeah, you got to watch out for this guy. But he's hell-bent on fighting the Overmind. And should you free him, he's going to try to run out. He might attack some things. He might attack whoever as he's going out. Lots of times I think he's going to attack kind of mutants and stuff like that. And so that's what he's going to do. Now, here's one of the rooms that's interesting. The Overmind Chamber. You've got this thing called the Antborg. I would have loved to have seen a picture or a piece of art of him. I was looking around, because a lot of times they'll hide art here in the map. I didn't see it. There's just some scenes here at the end that I wish there was art for, and it just doesn't have it, and that's a real shame. The Overmind is actually in a box. It's a very small critter that's in there. It says that it's about the size of a shoebox. And yeah, it's very interesting, the fact that it's so small, but it's got mind control, immunities. It doesn't eat or breathe. It's not extremely strong, but it is an Overmind that has just, in essence, gone crazy. So the two of these guys, they don't like each other, the Speculatron and the Overmind. They might fight it out. You've got this threat monitoring station right here. And it has to deal with a lot of stuff from the early years. And it's got a really neat thing where there's a bunch of TV screens. And you're going to be able to roll on this D14 table here, and the screens will start changing and show you different things that are all throughout Terra AD. And it can give you a hint at what else is out there for future adventures. And it's going to tell you a couple things here and there. Maybe you see some of the patron AIs, or you see some different landscapes. You see some different type of creatures. So it's just a really cool way to segue into another adventure. You could accidentally, with this station control console, summon up this Dimensional Explorer, who's an absolute badass who will do a lot of damage to you as well if you try to fight him. In fact, if he pretty much touches you, you'll have to make a save or be blown apart into red mist. There is a pneumatic tube that you can take down into the digger hangar, which is secured. It's going to show you towards the end of the adventure here, and the digger hangar is going to take you to this thing. This big, there's the tube, it's going to take you down. And this digger is going to be a subterranean, in essence, kind of ground submarine that's going to just dig through the ground. And it can take you all sorts of different places. Now, that is a very strong item to give people right off the bat, but you could always just make that thing stop working. It can help your player characters get to your next adventure, wherever that may be. And it can be kind of like a little base of operation going further if you want to let them continue to use the digger. But there's a couple of different ways here that surviving PCs can make their way out of the Hive. Use the digger. Use the Hive intelligence mutation and the ant saliva, because that's how the ants take control of you, to enslave those giant horseflies that we saw. You can seek out to enslave the ant-men in order for their drones that can fly to carry you down the cliff face. So that's pretty interesting as well. And it's going to show you, if you return with some of these great resources, you'll be highly regarded in the village. Maybe patron AIs will notice them from the area B6, may contact them to enlist them in their cause. So there's just a lot of neat things that how you can get out of the place. I think the digger is a really neat way, but I would really have my hand on the controls of how strong that digger is going to take them around the place, because they could just be like, well, we'll just dig through the next dungeon with this thing. So maybe have it so that thing kind of shuts down or does something. But that is Hive of the Overmind. I think it's a really cool adventure to start MCC RPG. I'm so used to saying DCC RPG, so it's nice to have something that kind of changes up a little bit. And yeah, I think it's a great adventure. A lot of cool action. I love the way it starts off with some high action, fighting that big bee along with these ant-men. It can be very deadly if you have got a lot of people that got a lot of attitude and want to try to fight these ant-men, because I just think their numbers and their stats are going to be really hard to take these guys down. I mean, they're going to do, right here, their bite right there, the workers does 1d4 plus 1. The drones do 1d6 plus a grapple. They've got plus 4 with their hook spears. For a 0-level character, that's going to absolutely just wreck them, I think. If you do take care of the queen, the Hive can go into some confusion, so that might slow them down a little bit. But just a cool visual, adventure with the bee and the caves. You've got this bridge that's overflowing lava. That's pretty cool. And then you got this big subterranean base down here. It shows you the Lyrian skull. I like that, to show you the techno crud that's in its skull there that you're going to be walking around with and opening up doors. And then a huge kind of big kind of almost middle boss right there. The only thing that I would really slide it on is, again, that one encounter there at the well was just confusing me exactly what's supposed to take place there. There are some people that have made some videos online, and I thought that there were some, some actual plays. I said, you know what, though, I shouldn't have to read that to kind of understand exactly what's going on, or watch that in order to understand what's going on with this encounter. So it's just a little bit, I don't know, overpowered, not enough information, a little bit confusing in that regard. And then towards the end, I wish we had a piece of art of the Antborg or the Overmind, even though they've shown there's pictures of the Overmind there. I would still like to see what the Antborg looks like, or maybe the Spectrotron fighting the Antborg, stuff like that. And the Antborg is pretty much almost like a cybernetic ant person, like an Ant-Man, but still really cool. It's a neat adventure, one that I definitely would run probably first off for people who are new to MCC RPG. So there it is, Hive of the Overmind. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll be making more on MCC RPG. I think the game still is really good, even though there's some faults here and there. And you can watch my video, which I'll probably link to it here at the end of the video. You can click on that and check it out if you haven't checked that out already. I did have some issues with MCC RPG, but I believe that there's still a lot of cool stuff to be had in this game. It deserves more love, and I'm hoping to give it to it with some of these videos here. And I hope you'll enjoy them, and stay tuned for the next videos, guys. Thanks.